Kia ora, I'm Andrea, Marketing and Comms Lead for the team at Wild Bamboo. It's my pleasure to join you all today where we're going to have a little chat about some of the issues that organisations need to think about when they're looking at privacy in relation to Recordbase. I'm very privileged today to be joined by Jo Scothen, who is our Product Development Lead, and also someone that needs no introduction to our customers, Marie James, our Customer Services Manager. Marie, one of the things that I've noticed that we talk about a lot at Wild Bamboo is the concept of teams. Now, when I think of a team, I think of a sports team. What is a team when you think about Recordbase?
Okay, in Recordbase, we use the term team, but it could be called a service or a contract, depending on the language that an organisation uses. Teams, services or contracts allow you to split the services you provide, so you can easily report on groups of clients based on funding. A client may be receiving more than one type of service, so it can be in multiple teams, services or contracts, and be supported by different staff. A staff member is given permission to a client file based on the team, service or contract they're employed to support.
Okay, that makes sense to me. Now, one of the things that you sort of brought up then was talking about the concept of privacy and giving different people access to the file itself. Jo, one of the things that I've heard bandied about in sort of people talk about a lot is the concept of blacklisting and whitelisting. Would you be able to explain that to me and our customers about what that means when you think about Recordbase?
Yeah, sure. Look, I guess blacklisting is a term that's often used for things like emails, where I guess a lot of people might have heard of it in that sense. And in that case, it means being blocked from or blocking a specific sender so that we don't get emails from people that we don't want. Now, blacklist in Recordbase is somewhat similar. It's sort of a one-to-one thing. So it's about taking a particular staff member and a particular service user and saying we want to stop that staff member seeing that service user. And the reason you might do that is if there's some way that they are related in some way. So if a family member or such forth, and then it's not really appropriate for that staff member to see that client file. Now, I guess whitelist is the same kind of thing, and so but in kind of the other direction. So it might be a case of where I don't have access via the team, but I still need to work with that person. So if I'm whitelisted as a staff member, then I can see them. So I guess the key thing that's true about both of those is that it is a one-to-one. It's a single staff member and a single service user. So it works well in the cases that I mentioned before. What may happen is there are cases where that I guess that blacklist type scenario where actually every staff member knows the person in service, and in which case you don't really want to have to go to every single staff member and blacklist them. In that case, we also have another option called privatization, which is where you make the client file private, which means even if you've got team access to the service in which that person's referred, you would also need to be whitelisted to be able to see their record.
It sounds to me like it's something that is quite a complex thing for an organisation to sort of deal with and think about. Marie, you deal with our customers quite a lot. What are some of the things that organisations could probably look at doing to help them when they start to think about this blacklisting and whitelisting and all the different elements that sort of sit behind that?
Yeah, when you privatise a client file, you need to make sure that the people that have access to that file are always current. So if you've marked the file with three staff members and they all leave, the business hasn't got any visibility of that client ever being involved in the services. So ideally, you'd have your own internal business process whereby you look at the client files that are being privatised, why are they being done so, and adding them to a register. Then also having a person in the business who requests this privatisation through Wild Bamboo so that we know who we're talking to and if they're actually the right person to be requesting this private file status.
Is that something we can help our customers with? Is that something they could talk to our support team about or yourself about? And what's the best way of them getting in contact with you if they're a little bit unsure about what to do in these circumstances?
Yep, if they can email support@wildbamboo.co.nz and the team there will be able to help them work out what this means for them and give them some information more about what it actually means to privatise somebody.
Okay, Jo, just quickly, what would be 2 tips you would give an organisation who are struggling or looking at working out how they deal with privacy and record-based, and also, I suppose, just in general too?
Sure. I think with privacy, obviously record-based definitely plays a part, but I think it goes beyond that as well. So I guess having a plan as an organisation in general makes a lot of sense. We've talked a lot about what more we could do in record-based to help support it, particularly with things like privatisation. But it really doesn't make sense for the system to manage that for the reasons I just said. There's other places where you need to know about people that shouldn't see other people, and if it's in the system, then immediately that means that some people do have access, and it's a lot harder to control that level of access than using the likes of whitelist and blacklist. So I guess it's my advice just be around being aware of it and thinking about all of the other places in the business that you'd want to manage that. Who is allowed to know that these people are actually in service, and how do we talk about people that are privatised? Because I guess if you're adding them into the system before they're marked as secured, there is a chance someone could see that if you put in their actual details. So there might be some things like that obscuring the information until you're in a place where you can lock them down.
What about you, Marie? Do you have some tips that might be helpful for our customers when they're thinking about whitelisting, blacklisting and privacy in relation to record-based, or just in general?
Yeah, just for me, it's have you got a process in place? Who is your nominated person or role to request this of us? And what reasons would you privatise a person? Having this in place and sharing your plan with us, then we're going to keep that client file confidential and mark it as such when the request comes in, and that'll ensure all parties are working in a safe and secure way and not marking files private inappropriately.
That's really interesting. Well, thank you so much. I really hope that that's been helpful for our customers. I know I learned something. Just to reiterate, if you do have questions around setting up your client files, teams, whitelisting, blacklisting, and all those things that Jo and Marie have talked about, please reach out to our team. It's really simple. Just email us at support@wildbamboo.co.nz and we'll be able to help you through that. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us, and we'll have another information session sometime soon. Thank you.